The movie begins during ancient China's Han Dynasty, where the fabled Great Wall proves ineffective in repelling the notorious Han army and their merciless leader, Shan Yu. The alarm is raised, and the emperor assigns General Li with the task of assembling an army to safeguard China. Fa Mulan, the teenage daughter of the prosperous farmer Fa Zhou, anxiously prepares for her appointment with the village matchmaker. Despite her cleverness and kind heart, Mulan is a clumsy tomboy who lacks confidence in her ability to become a poised and dignified bride. Hastening through her morning tasks, she joins her mother Fa Li and grandmother in town, where they groom and attire her before she joins the other girls at the matchmaker's residence. Mulan's unconventional grandmother insists that she take a live cricket for good fortune, but the insect escapes its confinement and causes havoc during the meeting. Mulan is labeled a disgrace and informed that she will never bring honor to her family. Overwhelmed by shame, Mulan returns home and laments that she is not the daughter her parents deserve. However, her father comforts her with the metaphor that the late-blooming cherry blossom may be the most exquisite of all. The emperor's arrogant councilman Chi Fu arrives in Mulan's village to conscript one man from each family for the imperial army. Filled with dread, Mulan observes as young men are summoned to receive their orders, knowing that her elderly and frail father will be called upon as the sole male member of the Fei family. As Fa Zhou is summoned by Chi Fu, Mulan implores her father to be excused from the battle, pointing out his veteran status and his injured leg. Fa Zhou scolds her for interfering and insists on going to the training camp the following day with the other soldiers. Realizing that her father will perish if sent into combat again, Mulan makes a desperate decision. When her parents are asleep, she cuts her hair short, dons her father's armor, and takes his conscription notice before riding off to the camp in his stead. Upon awakening, Fa Zhou and Fa Li discover with horror that their daughter has departed to join the army. They are unable to pursue her since impersonating a soldier is a capital offense, and Mulan would face execution if her true identity were exposed. Grandmother Fa prays to their ancestors for Mulan's protection. In the small temple on the Fa family's property, the spirits of the ancestors awaken to discuss how to handle Mulan's situation. Mushu, the disgraced former guardian dragon, is assigned the task of awakening the great stone dragon, the most powerful guardian, to ensure Mulan's safe return. Grumpily attempting to rouse the statue by striking a ceremonial gong, Mushu accidentally demolishes it. He manages to conceal this mishap from the ancestors and encounters Kriki, the lucky cricket who accompanied Mulan to the matchmaker. Eventually, the two decide to embark on a journey to find Mulan themselves. Mushu devises a plan to help Mulan excel in the army, thus reclaiming his position among the ancestors as a guardian. As China continues its preparations for war, Shan Yu and the Huns swiftly traverse the wilderness towards the city. Hun soldiers capture two imperial scouts, and Shan Yu mockingly instructs them to deliver a message to the emperor, urging him to dispatch his finest troops to confront the Huns. Reasoning that a single messenger is all it takes, Shan Yu has one of the scouts executed. Mulan arrives at the periphery of the training camp filled with fear about her task, and despondently confiding in her horse Khan that it would require a miracle for her plan to succeed. Right on cue, Mushu and Kriki emerge, with Mushu deceitfully introducing himself as a trusted guardian dispatched by her ancestors, pledging to aid her in becoming an exemplary soldier. Tentatively, Mulan enters the camp, and following Mushu's peculiar instructions on assuming the guise of a man and interacting with others, inadvertently triggers a brawl. Captain Li Shang, the son of General Li, who was assigned by his father to train the new recruits while he safeguards the imperial city with his army, intervenes and suppresses the commotion. Shang is unimpressed by the inexperienced recruits, particularly Mulan, who clumsily presents herself as Ping, the rarely seen son of Fa Zhou. The following morning, full-fledged training begins, which proves to be particularly daunting for Mulan, as her fellow soldiers are still resentful towards her for the camp-wide fight the day before. None of the recruits possess remarkable skills or athleticism, but Shang proves to be a diligent instructor. The troops gradually improve, and Mulan eventually redeems herself by being the first soldier to accomplish the seemingly impossible task that Shang assigned on their initial day. The troops were burdened with heavy weights on their arms and instructed to retrieve an arrow from the top of a colossal wooden pole. Mulan, after some trial and error, cleverly exploits the weights to her advantage, scaling the pole and reaching the arrow. The other soldiers begin to warm up to Ping, particularly the irritable Yao, the light-hearted Ling, and the hulking yet gentle Qian Po. Mulan finds it increasingly challenging to conceal her true gender, especially since the men all bathe together in a nearby lake. Whenever Mulan's identity is at immediate risk of exposure, Mushu is called upon to create distractions. Shan Yu intends to lead his army through a mountain pass, which is the quickest route to the imperial city. Despite discovering that General Li and his troops are already guarding the pass, Shan Yu remains confident and leads the Huns into battle against the imperial soldiers. Chifu, a council member of the emperor, stays at Shang's camp to compile a report on the new troops. Although the soldiers successfully complete their training, Chifu remains unimpressed and behaves rudely towards Captain Shang. Mushu, persisting in his plan to transform Mulan into a war hero, instructs Kriki to forge a letter from General Li requesting reinforcements at the mountain pass. The deception proves effective, and Shang leads the troops out of camp the following day. During their journey, Mulan's comrades uplift their spirits by fantasizing about their ideal women, but their optimism is short-lived. Upon reaching the mountain pass, they discover the village in ruins, and General Li, along with his entire platoon, slaughtered. Shang is taken aback and overcome with grief at his father's demise, yet he becomes all the more determined to prevent Shan Yu from reaching the city and the emperor. While Shang and the troops advance through the wintry mountains, Mushu inadvertently triggers a cannon revealing their location. The Huns swiftly launch an attack, clearly outnumbering the soldiers. With the Hun army charging towards them, Shang directs Yao to aim the last cannon at Shan Yu. Engaging in direct combat with the Hun leader, resourceful Mulan seizes the cannon and fires it at the mountainside, triggering a massive avalanche that engulfs Shan Yu and the remaining Huns. As the soldiers seek safety, Shang and Mulan narrowly avoid plummeting off a cliff. Shang expresses gratitude to Mulan for saving their lives and arranges for medical attention for her injury inflicted by Shan Yu's sword. Unconscious in the medic's tent, Mulan's true gender is discovered, and she is exposed to the rest of the troops. Chifu pressures Shang to execute Mulan immediately, but despite his anger over her deceit, Shang refuses to kill her. He orders the troops to march forward, leaving Mulan alone in the mountains with her horse and supplies. Mulan despondently confides in Mushu that joining the army was a mistake, and that she was destined to bring shame upon her family. Mushu finally confesses that he was not sent by the ancestors, and that his mission was a selfish one to regain his position. Even Kriki admits that he is not a genuinely lucky cricket. They are on the verge of losing hope when they discover that Shan Yu and many of the Huns survived the avalanche and are emerging from the snow. Thus, Mulan hastily make her way to the imperial city to warn of the impending attack. In the city, Captain Shang and his troops are celebrated as heroes for defeating the Huns. Despite the cheers of the citizens, Shang appears visibly disheartened. Mulan, presenting herself as a woman, once again confronts Shang during their victory parade and relays what she witnessed in the mountains. Shang dismisses her as a liar, and the crowd remains oblivious to Mulan's words. On the palace steps, the emperor begins expressing his gratitude to the Chinese army, but Hun soldiers have arrived in the city and disguised themselves as parade participants. To the crowd's horror, the Huns emerge, seizing the emperor and retreating into the palace, barricading the doors. Aware of Mulan's talent for innovative problem-solving, Shang and Mulan's companions turn to her for a rescue plan. Disguising themselves as concubines with the exception of Shang, they infiltrate the palace and launch an assault on the Huns guarding the chamber where the emperor is held captive. Shan Yu threatens to kill the emperor unless he surrenders and accepts him as the new leader of China. Undeterred, the emperor staunchly refuses, and just as Shan Yu prepares to strike, Shang springs into action in the nick of time. While Shang and Shan Yu engage in combat, Qian Po safely escorts the emperor to a place of refuge. Mulan then captures Shan Yu's attention by revealing herself as the soldier who triggered the avalanche, luring him to the palace roof for their final showdown. Armed with a colossal firework rocket, Mushu hurtles himself towards Shan Yu. In a dazzling spectacle of color, the Hun leader is obliterated, and Mulan and Mushu land safely on the palace steps. As the turmoil dissipates, Chifu scolds Mulan for her actions. Shang fervently defends her until the emperor emerges. He clarifies to Mulan that notwithstanding her deceit, she has safeguarded the entirety of China. In the most profound manifestation of respect, the emperor genuflects before Mulan, as do the myriad individuals in the gathered crowd. He subsequently extends an invitation to Mulan to join his council, yet Mulan politely declines and conveys her desire to return home. The emperor presents her with his medallion and Shan Yu's sword as tokens of reverence for the Fa family. Returning to the Fei estate, Fa Zhou experiences immense joy upon his daughter's arrival. Although Mulan presents him with the emperor's crest and Shan Yu's sword, he disregards these invaluable offerings and warmly embraces her, affirming that she herself is the utmost honor to their family. Shortly thereafter, Captain Shang arrives, bringing back the helmet Mulan had left behind. Awkwardly but happily, he accepts Mulan's dinner invitation. Finally, Mushu is reinstated as the guardian in the family temple. Mulan expresses her gratitude to him for his assistance in her daring scheme, and the ancestors rejoice in the reunion that makes the Fa family whole once more. And this is it for this movie. Click on the middle to watch more videos like this.